At ACC, we believe generosity to be as much a spiritual discipline as it is a financial act. When we are faithful as a church in bringing the tithe, each of us contributing what God has entrusted us with, we set the stage for God to move powerfully amongst us. And in 2022, your faithful generosity absolutely blew us away. You gave over $8.3 million to further the kingdom of God through this local body of believers. We are humbled with how much we have been entrusted with as a church, especially when we start to look at all that was made possible through your generosity in 2022. 2,803 people actively engaged in community groups. 1,009 of those joined for the first time this year. 122 people publicly proclaimed their faith in Jesus as a part of our baptism gatherings. 232 children raised up in faith week in and week out by our ACC Kids team. 200 students regularly attended Wake, our youth's monthly gathering, and 130 of those students took part in our winter and summer camps. 3,036 college students faithfully involved in the life of their local church. 4,500 people gathered together to worship Jesus every Sunday here in Auburn, with hundreds of others gathering with us from locations and watch parties all across the state. And all this while continually building our future church home at 2200 Hamilton Road. Yet behind every number is a name, and every name has a story, one that you are helping write through faith. You see, as a church, we believe in bringing the tithe. That's why each year we set aside 10% of total giving to be given right back through our outreach programs the following year. You may not have even known it, but each time you gave in 2022, you were stepping into the story God was writing through this church. You were reaching out to those in need, clothing the naked, feeding the hungry, providing shelter to the destitute. You rebuilt the houses of your neighbors. You cared for the needs of a single mother. You spurred on the work of a husband and wife on missions in Brussels. You brought food and water to children and their families in Ghana. You purchased stoves for refugees in Ukraine, providing a lifeline to those afflicted by war put out by their own country. Of course, this is just a small picture of everything you made possible last year. See, each time you bring the tithe, it's not the money you offer that's moving God's heart. It's your faith. And when the people of God come together in faith, miracles happen, mountains move, and heaven comes to earth. Thank you, ACC, for your astounding generosity this year, for entrusting our elders and leadership with your gifts and offerings. And most of all, for saying yes to all that God is doing through this local church in Auburn, Alabama. Our prayer for 2023 is that our faith and generosity would be continually expanded, and that the echo of every story we impact as a church would resonate with the cry of heaven and the headline of history: Jesus wins.